Hello, this is Giggles and Gratitude. I'm Dena.
And I'm Tia, and today is August 18th, 2024.
Tia,
Dena,
I want to allow about 7 to 10 minutes of our show right now for you to apologize to me for saying that I was delulu for thinking we could get into the Olympics and compete.
okay, I'm not.
Do you know what I'm talking about?
Yes.
Do you know who I'm talking about?
No.
Have you heard of ray gun?
No.
Oh my gosh. Ray gun is my spirit animal, my inspiration, my beacon of hope for the Olympics. Her name is Dr. Rachel Gunn, and she lectures. She's from Australia, and she lectures on dance and gender politics at the college where she works. You have not seen her breakdancing routine? Heard about her breakdancing routine?
Where did you say she was from?
Australia.
Oh, I just saw that. Oh, wow. It was horrible. That's not breakdancing.
Now, you don't think I could do that?
I hope you would not do that.
She
You
made
know
it to the
you would
Olympics.
break something.
I wouldn't be able to get back up, for sure. But when I saw that, I thought, Tia owes me.
No, she was horrible. That's not breakdancing.
But does that not give you hope?
None whatsoever for me to make a fool of myself on national TV.
Did she, though? Did she make a fool of herself?
Yes.
Well, when I saw it, I thought, is this like a joke to start the program? Is it like a parody? And then I felt just overwhelmed with hope and inspiration and possibilities.
Oh, wow.
She did a little
I can't believe that you didn't feel an overwhelming feeling of, wow, how embarrassed I am for her.
She made it all the way from Australia. The Australian government paid for her trip. She competed.
I know, it's a
She had
waste
to
of money.
compete. She had to compete
Right.
in the national competition
Right.
and win to get to. So I thought, I've got to figure out what happened here. So maybe I can follow her path. So I accept your apology.
No, I
And
didn't apologize. So forget it. No, I'm not apologizing. No.
This is from Forbes.com in case any of you were like Tia and didn't realize what I meant. Or maybe you actually haven't seen it yet. By the time you listen to this episode, I'm sure she'll have been on every talk show and done everything. Well, you will be aware of who she is. And she'll probably end up being a millionaire. But her B-girl name is Ray Gunn. Her real name is Rachel Gunn. So that's actually a really good name. You got to give her that, right?
Yeah.
Okay. She's Australian, and this article is called Ray Gunn, the Australian Breakdancer in the Olympics, Explained, because people wanted an explanation. And here she is, Tia. I'll put a link to this article.
Yeah, I know.
Now, I couldn't do that move. I couldn't reach my toe to hold my leg up. I don't know what that's called. But it says, Aussie breaker Rachel Gunn, known as B-Girl Reagan, took the internet by storm after her brief but memorable time. It was brief. On the stage in Paris 2024 Olympics in head-to-head battles against B-girls from the USA, France, and Lithuania. She pulled out some unique moves, Tia.
No, they were unique, all right.
They were unique, like the kangaroo hopping to represent her country and swimming on the ground. You know, the thing we do when we get drunk, we lay down and act like we're swimming.
I don't do that.
Oh, am I the only one that does that?
I don't get drunk. But
Some netizens, which I guess are citizens of the internet, netizens were less than impressed, posting messages like, there's 27.7 million Australians in the world, and that's who went to the Olympics for this inaugural event. Come on now. Others expressed doubt about breaking's inclusion in the Olympics. Was it a mistake? While the memes are admittedly funny, there are two misconceptions about breaking and B-Girl Reagan that are important to clear up. Misconception number one, this is what Olympic breaking is supposed to look like. The beauty of breaking lies in the freedom of self-expression. Among all the Olympic sports, breaking is perhaps the most opportunity for creativity. See? At the same time, there's a sky-high ceiling for physical and technical ability. Look at the performances of the medal winners. Amy, Nika, and 671, those are their B names, I guess. You'll see more gravity-defying dynamic sequences than you can throw a shoe at. So I will say I didn't look at the other performances winners. Did you in breakdancing?
No.
Okay, so I'm sure there were some great people. On the other hand, there's Reagan's approach. She herself told reporters, quote, "I was never going to beat these girls on what they do best, the dynamic and the power moves, so I wanted to move differently." She did that. Be artistic and creative, because how many chances do you get in a lifetime to do that on an international stage? She came into the competition with a goal of making her own mark, and in a sense, Tia, she did accomplish that. Now, the IOC, which we talked about in our Olympics episode, and I should have said, if you haven't listened to our Olympics episode, Olympics 101, I told Tia, if you had to compete in the Olympics, if it was a requirement to be a United States citizen, what event would you choose? And she had several that she would choose if she was younger. But I felt like we could still pull it off. We could pull something off. So that's why and she was very discouraging of me. So that's why I asked for the apology. But we learned about the IOC, which is the International Olympic Committee. And the IOC said, the Olympics include diverse participants from almost every part of the world, which naturally leads to situations where certain athletes are going to be outclassed by other athletes. No country excels in every sport. And in breaking's case, Australia is simply just not as competitive as other countries. That doesn't take anything away from the time and effort that Reagan took to get to the Olympics. She actually secured a spot by winning the 2023 Oceania Breaking Championship, and she represented Australia at the 2021 and 2022 World Championships. Her style wasn't enough to pass the group stage in Paris, but she is undoubtedly a qualified representative for her region. She's 36 years old and has been breaking since her 20s. That's 16 years of training.
That she still hasn't learned anything. Wow.
And she's known as Dr. Gunn when she's at her day job, lecturing on dance and gender politics at Macquarie University. At the end of the day, Tia, she says, it's all about positivity. It was amazing. Such a great experience. What a stage. What an arena. What a crowd. The music was great. Like, I'm oh so grateful for the opportunity. Thoughts? No more thoughts?
I mean, I'm glad she had a positive outlook and outcome from it, but that's not breakdancing. So I don't know what else to say. And no, I'm not apologizing. And I did not rip your dreams out from under you because you don't want to exert any energy. You just want to sit and do something.
No, I wouldn't do what she did because that would exert a lot of energy. But
Exactly.
it gives me hope for someone who might look like a fool once they get there to just make it and to try.
Okay.
Okay, maybe I need to move to
You want
Australia.
somebody to look like a fool. Wow.
Okay, so I did feel vindicated when I saw that. Now, speaking of looking like a fool, my brother-in-law was in the Navy. And when we were talking about the Olympics in our Olympics 101, I talked about the fact that you and I know a young lady who is, I said, a coxswain. And I thought you looked at me kind of funny. Mm-hmm. But it's called coxswain. Mm-hmm. You knew that. Why didn't you tell me?
Oh, I didn't want to interrupt you because you're on a roll.
Always interrupt me when I'm making a fool out of myself.
Okay. I'm sorry.
You know, that's one of those words I've always seen my whole life and never had to say out loud. And I just assumed. And he said there's boatswain, in the Navy, those are all son. So I thought, well, why is it called that? Here's correctly how to pronounce it.
Coxswain. Coxswain.
Okay. So I do want to correct that. I feel like an idiot, and it will be out in the internet forever and ever. Amen. But again, when do I have the chance to say that out loud?
Right.
I don't. All right, and it actually stands for, there is a boat called a cock boat, so that's where that comes from. And then SWAIN, SWAIN, it's actually translates into servant. So they're actually serving the rest of the people on the boat, that type of boat. So they're kind of helping the rowers. So
Right.
it's like a servant. It's not an insult. It's a great thing. It's an amazing thing. But I did want to correct that. I do apologize for that, and I'm very embarrassed, but I will never make that mistake again.
I'm just so happy that your family could point it out, though. It's so sweet.
Well, he actually didn't.
Oh,
I was thinking when I heard it, I thought, that's just such a strange word. I bet that's not how you say that word. But I couldn't do anything to change it. So when I was editing it, so then I Googled that pronunciation that you just heard, and I thought, oh, Lord, I'm so embarrassed. And I thought maybe I'll just cut out that whole section, but I didn't want to, since, she's a special person and very talented, and I didn't want to just chop that out. And then, so when we were together, we went to my niece's play Friday night. She was in Tom Sawyer and Huck Finn. And I said, I pronounced that word wrong. What does that word mean to him? And he said, well, yeah, it's like boatswain and coxswain, and for some reason that word is just pronounced that way. He says he thinks it's kind of has progressed to that over the years, where people kind of say things in a lazy way, and so now it's just kind of like the city I live in is like that. We just kind of blur the first letters together, and if you say it properly, you're like, you're not from here, are you? It's
right.
just so anyway, I do apologize. And it seems like there was another dumb word I used, but I can't think of it at the moment. But please know that I usually realize that later, and there's just not a darn thing I can do about it. It's just out there, and it's over with. Tia, I do you're going to be proud of me, I think.
Okay.
Your other boyfriend, I know that Dr. Jeremiah is one of your boyfriends, but Max Lucado would be.
I love him.
Okay. I just happened to be listening to a podcast yesterday, and it's called Made for This with Jenny Allen.
Mm-hmm. I love Jenny Allen.
You're familiar with her? Okay, good. I don't listen to it regularly. I just think, I'm in the mood for this, and I'll listen to it. And I don't subscribe, which is a mistake. If you subscribe, I won't forget her, because then I'll listen and think, why am I not listening to this all the time?
Right.
And I hit the little bell, and now I'll get a notice every time a new episode comes out, and it's free. She was having Max on as her guest, so I was like, I've got to listen to this one.
I'm going to go back and I will listen to that.
Well, I don't want to spoil it for you, but I did want to tell you a couple of points and let you clarify them for me, because
Oh,
will it ruin it for you?
Did you think that I went to theologian
Seminary
school? I mean,
well, you always are very thoughtful on this subject. He's got a book that came out on August 13th called What Happens Next.
right.
You're probably very familiar with it. Am I spoiling anything you were going to talk about? Okay. And just a few little points that he said that made me go, really stood out to me. He spoke about end times.
Mm-hmm.
And sometimes I won't listen to a podcast about that, because I just can't handle it right now. That's really heavy, and it confuses me. Revelations confuses me, and people disagree on what order things happen and what that means, interpretation and all that. But I thought, I want to hear what Max has to say, since Tia really respects.
He breaks it down.
Makes it easier to understand, not so scary.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. He said that God gives us signs of the end times, quote, not to scare you, but to prepare you.
Right.
Because it can be scary.
It's not scary.
Well, I just feel like it's, I've seen drawings and illustrated Bibles of all the horsemen and lightning and blowing up and just scary stuff. But
I
go
know,
ahead.
but, I mean, if the rapture comes, and that's Jesus on the white horse with all his followers, and so we'll be a part of his followers. We won't be here because we'll just be whisked up to heaven.
Okay.
So it's not scary.
That's okay.
Because, I mean, just think about being like behind Jesus doing that. Wouldn't that be fun?
It would. I'd like to jump on the back of the horse and just wrap my arms around him, but probably somebody that a little more higher up would get that privilege to do that.
Okay, there's nobody higher up. It's just everybody's the same. Here we go again.
Can you imagine me trying to climb up on a horse? He also said, when contemplating how you feel about a belief or a moral, or someone asks you what you believe, sometimes when people realize that you've said something that indicates to them that you're a Christian, just quoting a scripture or, well, I believe this, whatever. then they might get inquisitive. Well, what do you think about this? What do you think about this? What do you think that? And that can get you into a headbutting, or uncomfortable conversation. But he says, be decisive, but not divisive. And, there are certain topics that can be very divisive. When somebody asks you, well, do you believe this? Does your church believe this? Does that? So I think that's a good little mantra to say in your head. I'm not going to sway from my beliefs, but I'm not going to be aggressive or accusatory when I tell them. Like, how would you start a sentence like, well, this is what I believe, or this is how I interpret whatever subject matter, so that you don't turn them off or push them away or make them feel they're wrong and you're right, Right. So I thought that was helpful.
No, it is. And then sometimes your answer is, something, I'm not real sure about that answer, but let me look it up and I'll get back with you. It's okay to say, I don't know.
Yeah.
So.
Right. What if they're asking you what you believe and you know that they don't believe that, so it might turn into something. There's a kind way to say.
Right.
I still love you, and I know we disagree on this, but I'm not swaying from what I believe.
Right.
It's hard to do. That's kind of scary to do, but I think decisive, not divisive. When asked where our loved ones who have passed are, Jenny asked him, he said, well, they're in paradise right now, because there's always that thing, is your body going to come up out of the ground? Are you going to have a new body? Or are they up in heaven? And he said, think of it this way. They're in paradise right now, but they're not in heaven. Paradise is like the front porch of heaven.
Exactly. Don't you love how he says that? I love how he puts things.
Yeah, it really helped me understand. They're just hanging out on the front porch waiting.
I watched him being interviewed for that book.
Oh, you did?
Yes, I did. And it was wonderful.
Yeah. When asked if he thinks we are nearing end times, he says, of course, nobody knows. But he said, I've never said this before, but I really feel like we're in the fourth quarter.
Right.
We have reached the fourth quarter.
That's what he said.
Yeah. So that's a good way to look at it, too. He believes that heaven will be here on earth, that it's not up in the sky.
Right.
And the earth will be made new.
Right.
And he believes that we'll all have jobs, which you've said to me before. And I was like, wah, wah.
No,
we
it'll
want
be
to have things
something
to do.
you enjoy.
Yeah, and that's what he said. He said, the job you have now, if you're really skilled at it, then that's probably what God would ask you to do. You're good at this. It'll be done in a different way. But I was thinking, if what you're doing now makes you miserable, then maybe you should hone. I mean, obviously keep your job. You got to take care of yourself, but hone that thing you do love. Maybe in your spare time, because I think sometimes people think, well, it's too late for me. There's no sense in me learning how to do this thing that I love because I've made my decision. I'm middle-aged, whatever. But no, that might be the thing you get to do in heaven on earth. So play around with it. Or maybe God will just go, boink, you're an expert at this now. So what do you think you'll be doing? We talked about you maybe hosting parties or something.
No, I told you I would be in the barn taking care of the animals.
That's right. That's right. Well, think about poop will probably be just like glittery.
I don't think they'll be glittery.
Gold bars.
No.
Can't smelly poop in heaven.
No.
No, he'll upgrade the poop. Or maybe there won't even be poop. You just pet and love the animals.
No. I'll be like taking care of animals.
That's right, because I was going to hang out with you too. So the book sounds really good. I'm surprised you haven't already gotten it. Of course, it's just the 13th that it came out. But it's about, you said you saw him interviewed about it. Did it sound good to you? What do you feel like the book synopsis for somebody who might be interested in what the subject matter was?
I just think he just literally breaks everything down about the end times. And he puts it in a way that is completely relatable, and it's not scary, and it's all positive. And I just love the way he phrases things, because it's like you don't know whether to go, oh, wow, or giggle. Because he's just so good.
Yeah, I agree. Because it's overwhelming to think about all that evolving and starting, and he puts it in terms that are relatable, like you said. So I think I might get that book.
Dr. Jeremiah also has a series on the end times.
He has
a book.
A series
on end times.
Okay. And
and
what's
a
the
book.
All right. Well, I want to include links to all of that on here. There's a little key points here in the book. It says, we were made to reign with Christ. God has made and will keep his promises. Heaven has a timeline, and a golden era awaits God's children. It is coming. So if you're not sure, you're scared, Revelations is hard to understand for you.
I know, but did you realize that Revelation is the only chapter in the Bible that if you study Revelations, you'll be blessed for it?
No, I didn't.
Only one in the whole Bible, but you will be blessed for like reading Revelations. There's so many people that can break it down to where it makes sense. I think Tara Lee Cobble.
Yeah,
That's
I was gonna say,
one.
I'm going through my 5th time learning it, but I still...
Max Ligato, another one. The Bible Project is a great one. They literally make it to where, I don't know, probably a 7-year-old could understand it.
Yeah, with drawings.
Yes, drawings.
Yeah. Okay, so please check the show notes. I promise I'll put all those links there so you don't have to remember all this. Okay, Tia, what's going on in your world over there?
Over here.
Yeah,
Well,
way over
I
there.
don't know.
The other side of the studio.
I just actually did again what I always do, and I just got little sayings and stuff while I was reading or listening. So,
Okay, you want to share with the class?
well, the class. Oh, ooh, I didn't know we were teachers.
Yeah, I mean,
Ooh. Okay, this one is Low Sister. That's Sadie Robertson Huff's podcast, Low Sister.
low, like hello, but low.
L-O.
Low.
Right, it's called
Low
Low.
Sister.
And
Okay.
her podcast is, whoa, that's good.
That's the name of it? Or, okay.
Whoa, that's good.
I thought it was your commentary. Those are cute names. I like that.
I know. Okay. All right. This is her from the Low Sister.
Okay.
May I never forget on my best day that I still need God as desperately as I did on my worst.
Yep.
Fun, huh?
Yep. Sometimes people pray when they need a problem solved and not when things are good.
Right.
Yeah.
Because I think all of us are kind of guilty of just going through life when things are going smoothly, and then all of a sudden we hit a roadblock, and they're like, oh, God, please help me, please help me. But you put it on the back burner up and until then.
Yeah.
And we all need to focus on walking with Him every day.
Yeah, and I'm preaching to the choir. I'm guilty of that too. I might wake up and say, "Hey God, I love you. Thank you for today." But when I'm in a bad way, I get very detail oriented with my prayers, and they last a lot longer. So I
Exactly.
need to work on that.
Me too. Okay, here's another one. This is by Crystal Evans Hurst.
Okay.
It's okay to talk to God tonight and tell Him that He has not been the first in your life, but that you want Him to be. It's not too early to ask Jesus to invade your week.
Ooh.
Ooh.
Invade your week. I like that.
Ooh, I do too. I mean, just like cover it all over. You know what
Yeah.
I'm saying? Like, just get the Holy Spirit in me and just invade my body. You
Ooh,
know?
Yeah. Yeah, that's great.
I love that.
And you'd think God would just do that anyway, but
We have to search
You're inviting him in. Yeah,
Right.
exactly.
We have to invite him. That was good.
thank you.
We
I'm
invite
learning.
him in.
Yeah.
Right.
He doesn't force himself on you because that's not
Exactly.
love. So
Right. Or we would be what you said in one of our giggles and gratitudes if God made us and then we'd be like robots. Be no free will. So
Yeah.
that's awesome.
I like that too. That's good.
Okay, this is by Hope and Daisies.
Okay.
Be thankful for the closed doors, roadblocks, and detours. God protected you from paths and places that you were never meant to be.
I'm sure we don't even realize when that happens.
You know, that's one thing I know that, especially in my younger years, like college and, you know, right after college and everything, I can't wait to ask him all the times he did save me from just wreckage or like, I mean, even death.
Yeah.
Because, you know, we didn't care when
You thought you were going to live forever.
Right. I mean, because we thought we were invincible. And I just can't wait to see how many times he's actually saved me. Because I know of several that I know of. And I can't imagine how many he did.
Yeah. You think about the close calls that even if it's something like you're in your car and you and I were in a car almost in a tragic head-on collision with a big truck.
That was horrible.
And I don't know where he went, how he got out of the road, but there couldn't have been enough room for him to get around us.
Well, no, but there's no... I just don't see how I didn't go off into the ditch because the ditch was right there.
Yeah, you couldn't get out of the way.
Yeah, that was scary.
It was.
This
truck just came towards us and...
Coming head on.
Yeah. And we just kind of looked at each other like, whoop. I mean, that was like a split second.
No, that was almost like, okay, well...
We're dying together.
We're dying or we're going to be really, like, messed up.
Yeah, with a bunch of animal parts in the back of the car.
Exactly.
Can you imagine? Tia sometimes delivers animal specimens for testing.
Well, I pick them up. And then I take them to FedEx, and then
they're
shipped to the lab to be tested. Yes.
And I went with her a couple times, and we were almost in a terrible car wreck. And we had talked about, what if you were in a car wreck with all these animal parts, and it was just a mangled mess, and they were like, okay, we have found a body, we'll have to identify it, but we've also found a dog tail. Here's a big foot that doesn't go with that.
And a dog spleen and some eyeballs.
You're like, her organs are everywhere.
I can't make this make sense. It's a human dog cat.
It's a dog cat. Cat dog.
Human dog cat dog.
This is some horrible experiment gone wrong.
Wow.
But anyway, we were so grateful, and we had to take a moment, like, God.
No, we didn't speak for a little bit after that, because that's when I very first started.
Yes.
When you rode with me those
it's like the second
couple of
time, I
times.
think.
Yeah. And, whew.
Yeah. And so we know, and my point is, we know of times, like you said, I know of some times that he saved me. But the things, what's going on behind us we didn't even see,
Right.
Or what if somebody plotted against us we didn't know about? Or
Exactly.
we weren't dodging a bullet, I guess is the expression. So, oh yeah, for sure.
Okay, you want another one?
Sure.
Okay. I'd love to hear what you say. Okay, this one is by Jenna Vivanio. Okay.
Easy for you to say.
It is, isn't it? Okay. If we really believe God wants to be in all parts of our life, we can't drop God off in the morning and pick him up at 5. Ooh.
Oops.
I know, right?
Yeah. We talked about how prayer could be like calling Jesus when you wake up and then have him stay on speakerphone with you all day and then hang up before you go to bed. You know, like have him with upmost in your mind all day long, which I'm guilty of not getting distracted. And, if something happens where I have to make a moral decision or I get like a car almost hitting you, God comes back into your mind pretty quick. But, yeah, if he's always there in the front of your mind, you're not going to make so many mistakes during the day.
Exactly.
Whether it's with your words or your actions.
No, but I've done that. I mean...
What do you mean?
I've started out, thank you so very much for letting me be alive today. And then do my devotions, blah, blah, blah. And then all of a sudden, it's afternoon, I'm like...
What are you doing, God?
Where did I leave him at Giggles?
He's picking up some things.
I said, wow.
Getting some fish and some bread.
I know. I just can't believe that I do that.
Yeah. Please know we're far from perfect when we say you should do this and this and this. It doesn't mean that we're good at that.
Oh, no, not at all. That's what I'm calling that's the reason I screenshot these, because they speak to me.
Yes, exactly.
That's why.
Yeah, anytime somebody shares a meme on Facebook, I think, they must do that. The fact that they're sharing it, where some people say, oh, they think they're so perfect because they do this and this. They don't do that. And that's not really what people are saying when they share it. They identify with it, I think. It's like...
I've never shared a meme.
Really?
No.
Yeah, I wouldn't do it.
Okay. All right, I won't. Okay, this
It reveals
one.
a lot about you.
What?
It reveals too much about you.
Oh, okay. Well, then I won't. I promise. don't get on it very much, okay? All right, this one's by Dr. Michelle Livingston. God uses our trials to build our faith, draws us closer to Him, and gives us a testimony of His faithfulness for others to see.
I need to look at that one.
Okay.
God uses our trials to build our faith. Yeah. Yeah, because you're always going to love and believe in God when your life's going good. You're like, thanks, God. This was really working out for me once you decide you believe. Then when things starts going bad, it can test you.
And what does testing and trials do?
Build your faith. Or you fall away, and you probably didn't have the faith in the first place.
But I think the bottom line here in this is that our testimony, everybody has a testimony. Everybody does. And, in your actions or in the way you talk or handle yourself, then you're being a testimony for God because people want what you have. Like, if you go out of your way to just be kind when some of the people are like, oh man, I wouldn't do that. What you're doing is like you're bringing God into their life just by your actions and what you do and how you talk and what you say. And so people want what you have.
Right. So eyes are on you more when you're openly a Christian. The friends who aren't, maybe, is that what you mean? Like we've talked about how it's a lot of pressure to kind of set an example.
Well, no, it's just how you, if a situation were to happen that the majority of people would be like, God, that made me so mad, and you brush it off and then are kind to the person, right there, then everybody's going to go, wow, that was different. Why is she not as mad as we are?
Right.
I mean, because there's so many instances that you could do that. Or even doing the right thing. Like, going back into a store and say, I'm sorry, you actually gave me too much change, so I'm returning it.
Right.
It's just those little things that people notice that you don't know that they're noticing.
Do you have one more you want to do? Or?
I only have two more.
Okay, let's do them both.
Okay, this one's by Lisa Turkhurst. Do you know her?
No. How do you spell her last name?
Terkeurst. She's fabulous.
Is she?
I mean, you talk about somebody being blindsided by a divorce and literally has turned it into triumph.
Wow.
Literally
I'll check
has.
her out.
Oh, she's so good. Okay, we must not confuse the command to love with the disease to please.
Ooh, yeah.
Ooh, that's good,
People
huh?
pleaser. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, we could do a whole show on people pleasing.
Exactly. But we should not confuse the command to love one another, with the disease to please, because that's what sometimes we do. And she admits, she said, I was a people pleaser. And so it literally caught her out of left field when, her husband she found out he was having an affair and had been having.
Wow.
So, I mean, she just really inspires me just because she took that and made it into something really good.
So she didn't do this she wasn't like an influencer or a author or whatever she is now before it happened?
No, she's always been like a Bible teacher, and now she's got a podcast with her therapist and a theologian.
Wow.
All in the same thing.
So she was married. She was doing that when he divorced her.
Not the podcast, but
Yeah, wow.
She was,
Can you imagine that would be even worse if you were in that field, giving advice and talking about love and marriage and being a Christian, and then your husband's having an affair. So she really had a lot to overcome. And maybe that happened so she could grow and
Well,
test, you know.
right, but she got a lot of flack from it too.
She did?
You can't be a Christian and get a divorce.
What?
Wait a minute, and I'll see.
That's a whole other topic.
Now, thank you, because I mean, there are definite reasons in the Bible to leave your spouse,
Yeah.
and being unfaithful is one of them.
Right.
So,
Right. That's what our church teaches too. Abuse, repeatedly unable to fight addiction. You know, you want somebody to try. You want to support them, but continue feeling at that, and then extramarital affair, unfaithfulness.
right.
Yeah, I agree. Okay.
Okay, my last one by Morgan Harper Nicholas.
Okay.
Not everyone believes in her, and not everyone supports her, but her, God, goes with her, and that's what sustains her.
Yes.
You see, that's a good note.
That's a great to leave on too.
Yes,
That's what sustains me, I'll tell you that.
me too.
And
Totally.
you Tia, and talking about God with you really helps me too. It's nice to have somebody to bounce it off on. And if you don't have a friend that you feel like you can talk about God with, I'd say there are people who are believers, but they don't talk about it when they get together. It's like, what are you talking about? Why are we doing this? You know what I mean? It's like they talk about it at church. They talk about it with their small groups, but maybe not a friend. You need a friend you can talk to.
Okay, the podcast I watch, Better Together. Okay, every single one of those women that are on that show, because it changes up weekly, every one of them talk about their just tight-knitted group. Now, some of them have 3, and they do a Zoom call, every single week, and you cannot back out on it because they hold you accountable, and they know when somebody's struggling with something. I think everybody needs at least one person that they feel real comfortable with, and I think you can talk about, your questions or whatever. I mean, at any given time, if somebody doesn't want to hear it, they don't have to.
Yeah. I mean, I have friends, like you're a friend that I talk to about God with, obviously here, and not just here, in our private lives. But I do have friends that if I said, what do you think God, or would you pray with me about, they would look at me like, what do you do? They'd be like, I thought we were going to go have fun. They wouldn't be. So
Really?
So I do have friends that, I don't know what their personal beliefs are about religion or God or what they believe, but there's somebody that I can hang out with and that I love. But that conversation, I don't know if you have to have that conversation with everybody in your life or not.
No, you don't have to have that conversation, but, I mean, I think them watching how you act, eventually they're going to say, you know what, I want what you have.
Yeah, I hope so.
What is it?
Yeah.
So,
I agree. All right, Tia, I love you so very much. I want to leave time for Tia time.
Oh, I love you, pumpkin.
Yay. So thank you guys for listening. Don't go away, because Tia time is next, and we hope you'll join us on Wednesday for a new, something, where we talk about a new topic every week in case you never listened before. So bye.
Bye-bye.
Tia time's next.
Hello, and welcome to Tia Time. Today, what I'm doing for Tia Time, I got it off of my YouVersion app, and this really hit me. Of course, everything I ever do on Tia Time hits me, so here we go. Here's what humility looks like. When you think of humility, what comes to mind? In our world, humility is not something often celebrated. We would rather be seen as powerful, influential, and competent. If humility is weakness, pride is strength. But is it really? Pride can feel good, but it can hold us back from who God made us to be. It makes us think that if we try hard enough, we can become good enough. If we're doing great, pride makes our confidence soar. But if we're going through a rough season, pride makes us sensitive to our failures. Pride links our worth to our accomplishments, and it prevents us from seeing who we truly are. Humility helps us realize that we are not enough, but God is enough for us. Humility will often ask us to risk something. It might mean laying down our social standing, our reputation, our financial security, our sense of authority, or our expertise. Surrendering our self sufficiency, surrendering our pride, lets us embrace God's authority. And our God did miracles through Moses, established David as king of Israel, worked through Isaiah in the midst of chaos, publicly honored Mary, abundantly provided for Peter, and glorified Jesus by raising him from the dead. When we surrender ourselves to God, we allow him to be glorified through us. Humility might cost us something, but it leads us to abundant life. This is something I really need, because in today's society, it is, everybody wants to be this or that. Having humility is not weak, it's actually major strength within yourself. So think about that and have a blessed week.